SaaS Insiders, welcome to this another episode on our show. Today we have a special guest. He is Forbes 30 under 30. He is a climate leader and a TEDx speaker. And today we have a topic of how to craft an irresistible SaaS offer. And we have a privilege to have our guest with us to share his insights. Without further ado, Lalit, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Vlad. It's a privilege and honor to be here and to discuss about the SaaS, which is a very interesting topic for founders like me.
Lalit, maybe in a couple of sentences, could you share with the audience a little bit more about your background?
Sure. So I came from a very small city back in India, where I grew up between the farms. And I moved Europe after my MBA. I lived in Europe for almost 10 years. I built my first company in Paris. It was in a marketplace which got sold. It wasn't a big, exit, but decent exit as well. Then I came to US and California, Fremont. I built my second company called SaaS, where I'm currently CEO. It's also like a SaaS business. We have some interesting element in the company, like, IoT and other satellite imageries, but overall the business model is SaaS. So apart from my own startups and the exit, I've been doing a lot of mentoring and consulting to different universities and the different accelerator as well. And I think as an outsider and as an immigrant in Europe, I've also built one accelerator called Connect Border, which is still running. This helps just international founders to connect with the European market and those who want to relocate. So there's a lot of things which I do as a pro bono, as my passion, and of course my full-time job is to become the CEO of SaaS.
Got it. Awesome. We'll definitely talk about SaaS in a moment from now. But I think the topic that a lot of founders are curious about is what is really an irresistible SaaS offer and why founders need to pay attention to this? Cannot they just sell their software, features, benefits? Can you shed some light on this?
Yeah, sure. And I think this is a very important question as well. And I think this question makes the entire difference between a successful startup and a not so successful startup. Like every company is building SaaS, everybody is making nice softwares, solving problems and all. But why only few companies has become successful? They have 1 million ARR, 10 million ARR, 100 million ARR. Why not the other companies as well? And the answer lies in your questions. What makes this offer special? And I think before without going deeper and detail, what makes this offer special, which we're going to do this in the next questions. Let's make it very simple. And I think the simple answer for this question is you have to create an offer that's the human required, your market required. So you have to study your market very well. Problems usually change, solution usually change, your team usually change, but your market usually does not change, right? The market never lies. That's what I usually always say to my team and other people as well. So if you have studied your market very well, if you studied your customer very well, you can make a very, very, effective offer for your SaaS. So there are three important things, right? How effective is your messaging or storytelling to your audience? How simple is your messaging? For example, hey, this is the $20 per month versus this is free of cost per month. Is what is the important value proposition you're putting into your different SaaS offer. If you're providing three offers to your audience, one is free, one is $20 per month, and one is let's say $100 per month. What are the difference between these plans? So you have to communicate your offers very clearly with a very clear value proposition, and your messaging should be very clear. It's you can onboard your customer in just couple of minutes of providing your offer. So these are a very short, brief answer for this thing. But when we going deeper into these questions in the coming next few minutes, I'm going to discuss more further about that topic as well.
Mm-hmm. And Lalit, when you say value proposition, maybe you could elaborate a little bit on that, because we oftentimes see landing pages with people just talking about their software, our software does this and it also does this, and that's about it. How exactly value proposition is different from what I've just described, and what happens if we don't have a clear value prop?
Exactly. No, that's a great question, Vlad. And I think that the difference between a value proposition versus the feature of your product is two different things. There is a thin line between a value proposition and the features. Let me take an example. Maybe your one product can have 10 different features, right? For example, maybe your features, your product could have couple of value proposition which is resonant to your customer. So I think long story short is what exactly is your customer wants to know. So if let's take me example of any company, any good SaaS company, like let's take an example of Salesforce, right? Now the Salesforce have the multiple features for the different people, right? On a HubSpot have a multiple features for their product, right? When enterprises or when their agents usually pitch these solutions to the customer, they don't pitch like the entire list of the features. They only talk about the 2 and 3 things, that how effectively, how easily you can manage the entire CRM of your company, and you can drop this a single email to all these 1,000 contact lists while in a second. This is the difference between a value proposition. So the value proposition for Salesforce and the HubSpot like companies is like how you can integrate it your Gmail or your company email ID. You can put all these contacts and reach out to them in just like simple 1 second, versus marketing campaign, emailer, connecting the team, and all these are like your features. So that there is a very thin line between the features versus the value proposition.
Interesting. I think what you say is also closely tied to describing the problem that users are getting solved with this software, right? Not so much what are the blows and whistles, but how exactly like my life will get better from the software in just a couple sentences, right?
Exactly. So again, the very simple thing, like if I ask you, hey Vlad, what you're looking in the phone, right? I'm sure you will say, hey, I'm looking for like 10, 20 different things or 20 different things. But maybe your current requirement for the phone is just 1 or 2. Maybe you're looking for a phone just to communicate, right? Just to call and have a very better audio quality for your phone. And maybe your second main requirement for phone would be, I need like in a good phone with a good camera where I can click the pictures while I'm traveling, This is your main value proposition. This is your like real requirement right now at this stage. Other things like canning and all this is going to be your great feature, which you may not require immediately.
Interesting. Lalit, what do you think would be the process for crafting an offer? Like, let's say if I'm a founder and I've got this idea, I've got this product in my mind, it has 25 features, it's all like perfect, it'll do everything. How do I communicate it to the marketplace? How can I make it irresistible?
Yeah, and I think again another important thing, and I think this is a point. This is the complicated point, and I think this is the point where most of the company differentiate. Like if your team, if your founding team, and if your sales teams are well aware about some points, like they will make a very great offer, compelling offer for your customers, and your company will be successful. And if you're not, like then you will struggle a bit about scaling and the revenue part as well. So long story short, let's talk about like this thing in a detail a bit. So there are a few things, right? There are like a couple of points which I usually follow. The first thing will be like the point is the biggest important thing: how compelling is your offer? How effective is your offer? And when I say the effective, it means how important is the business or the market requirement, whether the market really required this product or not. Like in a product which is just if it is not there in the market, nobody cares. So I without demeaning anyone, but let's take an example of Clubhouse, right? Great product, great company, raised a lot of funds as well. The compelling thing was missing, right? So this is kind of example. I have no intention to put the company into the spotlight, but I'm just taking a good example so our audience can understand well. The second point will be the risk reversal things as well. It's like a lot of time, for example, and I'll take my example this time, like SenseGrass. The risk reversal or the things means like I'm an entrepreneur, right? I'm a techie. I'm very passionate about building a tech product. I'm keep building the good track product and all, and I have no idea what my customer is required, whether my customer is really required or not. So there's a kind of there's a huge risk factor. Like you build a very great soil intelligence platform. You put all these ingredients, you put a lot of data layers. It's a nice, very fancy kind of product. But does your customer, which is, let's say, farmer, right? For example, does they are really capable enough to use this a complicated product or not? Then this is the risk reversal. So means make a very, very simple product for user and give a very simple offer. So after the compelling and a very structured offer, this is the second point will be the risk reversal, try to reduce making a very complicated product. The third one is create a urgency. And I think this is a very important factor in making a very nice offer to your audience. And I'm sure like there are tons of examples. Hey, this offer like 30 days free trial period is only applicable for till 30th of September. You can get like in a free 30 days kind of account, Netflix account only for 1 month. And this offer it just lasts for like next 5 days, something like that. So you have to create the urgency and scarcity. Like you have to show that you are the only company providing this offer. You may be not the only company who providing this solution, right? There are many 10 companies who providing the CRM, but you will be the only company who providing this great offer in a great price only for 5 days. So the urgency and scarcity of the offer makes you different from your competitors, right? And I think that's also one of your differentiation as well. Maybe the last point will be like, the bonuses. What additional thing you can get it, like what is the additional benefit? Okay, I'm picking this let's say pro offer, or I would say the Dropbox Pro offer, but apart from these things, what are the additional benefits I'm getting? What is the bonus that I'm getting? People are greedy, like human beings are greedy people, right? They always want like a lot of things, everything in just $20 kind of the packages. Once you put the offer, you have to give like, hey, these are the three things that we are offering worth like let's say $20 per month or $20 per year, whatever. But out of this, you will also get these things. You will get another 15 days with this 30 days paid period. So, these kind of points, some key ingredient. I'm not saying like this is always going to work, but these are few things that always make sense when you're making this offer effective and workable.
SaaS Insiders, I want you to all pick up those golden nuggets. I think to summarize, the really good offer should be concise. It should be to the point, exactly what is one of the problems that we're solving for these people. It should have the scarcity element, meaning time limit or quantity limit that only for the first X customers, or only for the X days. And it should have some kind of bonuses. It should feel like they're getting much more for this than they were expecting to. Would that be correct?
Exactly. And I think I'll give you a very quick example, like which I've recently come across, and I think it works for me. So I just spoke to a crowdfunding platform. They were behind me for almost like 6 months, even more. And now, like 2 days back, they drop me an email and say, hey, we have partnership with them. We are offering like 10,000 kind of marketing credit to you. And the offer lasts now for 30 days. So I received an email somewhere in like around 27th and 28th evening, September, and the offer is ending on 30 September. So take this example. They have a kind of very simple, compelling story, very straightforward, concise message. They have a bonus, like I'm giving you 10,000 marketing credit, and they have like kind of scarcity or urgency that the offer is closing on 30th of September. So I have just 2 days to react. Boom. And now I have already signed up with the offer because I know this is a great thing, because I know they are following me for last 6 months and I didn't see anything like this in the last 6 months. So this is kind of an effective, kind of way of communicating and compiling like in a good offer.
I see. So they were following you for 9 months, but then they kind of gave you a no-brainer with a time limit, and you committed because like it's psychological, right?
Exactly.
Interesting. I think one of the issues I see a lot of, especially beginning founders do, is they focus so much on their baby, their app, their product. They forget about their customer. What I see is they fell in love with their product, not with their customers. So what I normally recommend them is to be very specific on what is the target audience that we're solving this problem for. Like, can you describe them? What are their pains? What are their deepest desires? What do they want? How do they communicate their problem? And then only reverse engineer it in your messaging. So don't start with me. This is my platform. This is kind of things that I provide. Start with them and what they get out of it. Do you have any comments on this?
Like I'm also an entrepreneur, right? Two-time entrepreneur. And as you mentioned, like we are very passionate about product. Like we call it our baby, right? And you are always passionate about your baby. You love what you're doing, but you're not selling to yourself, right? You're selling to the world, right? So love the world, not you. So you have to understand what exactly the rest of the world wants, what exactly the market of US want or market of India wants, right? You are not just building a product for your own use. You're not, building a garden for your own house where you're going to spend your retirement. No, man. You're building a product which you want to sell it. And if you just keep loving your product within yourself, and if you have no idea about like what exactly the customers want, is a crap. It's a useless piece of shit, right? I think this is point one, and I think I'm completely agree. The point two is, and now maybe the second question is like, hey, Lalit, this is fine. We all know this thing. This is a great stuff. But how are we going to know what customer want, what market want? So in that case, you have to break your product into the silos. You do not need to build the entire product in one way, in a one shot. You build a very small product, like couple of features. That's why we call it MVP. That is the reason why MVP concept is very cool. The MVP means it's a minimal viable product. Like this is the three features. I think that this is the value proposition. I'm not talking like we talk about the what is difference between value proposition and feature. So let's forget about 10 features. Let's only talk about three value proposition. Let's build the three value proposition, test it, go to the people, right? And see like if they out of 10 people, 100 people, if 70 people are liking it, otherwise like pivot it, like scrap it, cut it off, right? Throw it out. So, and then move to the next step as well. So I think it's more like silos, right? Cut your innovation short. Like there is a very famous venture capitalist, Vinod Gosla, I'm sure you know, right? So he always say one thing, like, and I think when I met him first time, like even before I was an entrepreneur, he said like, cut your innovation short. Like if you have a great vision, if you want to build like in a flying Tesla, that's great. That's a huge vision. Before you going for a flying Tesla, let's test it. Let's see like whether people really want or not. These are completely, and that's my comment. I think this is you completely right.
I love it. I love when you say like, you are not your customer. You got to figure this, what exactly they want, build an MVP, validate it, and then move forward, right? Because I think that's also what investors pay attention. Like if they ask, okay, what do you do? And you start showing them, oh, this is my product. They'll probably be like, well, yeah, but what is the problem that we're solving, right? What is the market, total addressable market, and all those elements? If you figure out in the beginning, it will be much more simple, especially if you go to the fundraising round.
Exactly. I think make the thing start small and get some feedbacks, inputs, and then like eventually grow here. Unless you have a very good deep understanding about the product. So let me add this important point as well. Like a lot of founders, and I think these are good successful founders, they have worked 10 years, 20 years in the same industry. They are like working in e-commerce, retail, mobility, engine oil, or anything. So they have a very, and I think for these kind of founders, the concept is slightly changed because they were customer. They were, in the shoes of customer. They have lived this problem for 20 years. Even if they were not customer, at least they have lived with the problem for 20 years in the same kind of industry. In these kind of cases, it's not applicable. They have a pretty good experience about building those stuff, what exactly people want.
No, yeah, I love it. When we scratch our own itch, we kind of have a bit better insight, right? We can less guess and more kind of predict at this stage. Lalit, how do you know you got a great offer? So let's say, okay, I'm a founder. I listen to this podcast and I go and I construct my value proposition. I publish it to my landing page. How do I know it's good?
No, that's good. So I'll answer this question in two ways. The first, keep myself as an example, the founder of SenseCross, and I'll answer in a very general way. So I have to be very frank. We haven't reached to that level. We still like learning, knowing, and the reason is like we are in a very complicated business of ad tech, right? Our customers are agro corporates. We don't sell to farmers B2C. We sell only to B2B as well. So we are B2B SaaS company, right? So we're still learning, right? We still haven't reached to like kind of a wow kind of stage where we have cracked the mystery of a successful, compelling SaaS offer to our audience, right? So we have done really great, and I'll take the example of this as well. But we haven't reached to that level as well. And coming back to like as a normal person, like to give what is going to be the real. So I think, and I again let me take the example of Sense. So being a complicated company in a very high tech product, I think the biggest important thing that you want to tell your customer is very easy onboarding. So if you go to our website, which is still haven't updated for a while, but even if you go there, people read it, people get a sense of the problem in 2 minutes, 3 minutes. They have after reading, which is like the ice breaking, they usually get to know about like in a video or a study or a case study, like maybe an example or testimonial, which is the second stage of a sales process. And the third one is the action, point of action, which is the third step. The point of action is the only thing they have to do is they simply leave their email ID. So, hey, you want a demo? You want to they will feel that this is cool. You want a demo, and then you just drop your email ID and just submit, get demo. Now we have received the email. Now everything we have to do. How as a human person, how as a salesperson, how as a CEO of a company, how I'm going to convert. Like a nice landing page has done his work. Customer has done his work. Now it's your time to create. And then the second things comes once you receive the email. you have to send like an automated email to them, like in a very nice welcoming email. I remember like when I signed up for Shopify in my first startup, like, or even the Monday.com in my current startup, the first email, the moment I have clicked and submit the inquiry button on their website, and the moment the people have received like an immediate response, that's what we call the automation. The moment you click, you submit, and you receive an email and text, and you get, hey, how fast they are and how easy they are. And even in the email, they have like put all the necessary information, not too much information, a very simple necessary information what a person requires. So I think these are the few things makes a person, like, because as you mentioned, sales is a very much a psychological kind of stuff, right? When you do the sales, there is definitely a requirement of a person, but like a lot of decision making usually happen because of the psychological thing, like in terms of timing, in terms of price, in terms of like, I'm talking to the same company for 6 months and now suddenly I have made a decision. So it's all about like, kind of psychology. So these things works a lot.
When I'm a founder, let's say I didn't have an offer after this episode, I go and I tweak my landing page. When I see the metrics, when I see the visits, the conversion, is there anything changes? Like when I improve my offer, how would I see it reflect on my stats?
No, exactly. And I think I mentioned one important thing is like, your metrics. I mentioned one line that markets usually don't lie. The facts and data also usually don't lie. Right. So data never lie, right? Or the facts never lie. And the mantra for a successful landing page is whether it's working or not, but successful landing page is definitely giving you a lot of data. How many people are coming? How many visitors are coming? How many of them are like, clicking on the video to watch the product? How many of them are like after watching the video, clicking on like get demo and, reach out to us? And even after a significant, numbers, right? After significant of the leads, you are not able, right, to converting these leads into kind of the sales. Then there's a problem in the offering, like in the problem in the product offering, or the problem in the like, the message offering to you. So coming back to the main point first, like the first point, like you asked, what's wrong? How I'm going to change this, right? Okay, let's take an example of Netflix, right? If you go to the main landing page of Netflix, it's a very simple, right? They have some pictures. I'm log out from Netflix long back because it's distracting me a lot. But I still remember their landing page. The reason I'm still remember because it was so easy. They have simple like some, nice movies and kind of stuff, pictures. And then they have simply like, hey, start your 30 days trial period and just simply put the email ID as well. Mm-hmm. So a lot of time founders put a lot of piece of information, a lot of things, which is a action point. No, you can only have one action point, right? You cannot have multiple things. The multiple things is going to be your trigger point, catalyst point. That will lead to the like last decision-making step.
Got it. One thing, SaaS Insiders, I really want you to pick up is we're talking one call to action. When you have a landing page, there shouldn't be 5 different call to actions because they'll get confused. Confused minds say no. Lalit, let's imagine like I'm Lalit and I'm working on improving my offer at SaaSgrass. So I update it. How do I measure whether I did a great job, whether I improved something?
You got it. No, I think that's a very good question, Vlad. And I think that is the reason, like I said, like we have worked a lot on our landing page. And I think, so there's a couple of things I have to very precisely, very briefly wants to touch the point. The first thing is like we working for an AgTech. So every industry is different. So you cannot compare the success of a financial fintech company with a AgTech company versus AgTech company, right? So every company is different. Every audience is different, right? And every offering is different. So we are a B2B SaaS company, which is like providing a very complicated product called reducing your fertilizers, improving your yield by providing a IoT-enabled AI solution, a SaaS solution, right? So I think in our case, we cannot have a very simple landing page like in a Netflix. People know about Netflix. People know about what they are offering. People also know what they are looking for. In our case, sometimes people do not know what exactly they're looking for. Maybe they're looking for a higher crop yield solution. Maybe they're looking for reducing their input cost solution. Or maybe they are looking for like a sustainable analytic platform to for better decision making. So in our case, the decision making features are multiple, right? But your call for action is one. So you have to, put a decent kind of story and the problem statement very clearly. And if you have 5 problem statement which you are solving, you have to put all 5. If you have just one, you have to put one. And at the end of the day, give some data numbers, facts and figure as well. Hey, we have done 5 pilots. We reduce our input cost up 40%. We have increased the yield up to 25% and improved income by 2x. So these kind of feature which we have usually provide. So there's a kind of decision making. It's not just like an immediate kind of step. It's a decision making is a series of impact, series of effects, series of the incidents. So my customer goes to the first thing. Hey, they have soil intelligence platform. What they do, they reduce their fertilizer intake. They improve the overall crop productivity, reducing the carbon management, and helping the companies to do the labor management. That's your 5 problem statement. Now the third step comes. What is the numbers and benefit they are offering? They reduce input cost by 40%, increase yield by X6% off. And the fourth thing is hey, what is the pricing and the get demo? So you already have given enough information to a user to understand your product, because you're not Netflix. They are not aware about what you do and what they are looking for. So you have educated them first. And once you have educated them first, you have also solved some of their query. That makes very easy for them to reach out to you, right? Mm-hmm. So in this way, 2 things happen. The first thing is you make your customer educated. You also create a huge need that, hey, I came on the SenseGraph's website only for the decision-making solution. But now they are also reducing fertilizer, which is good. They're improving my crop yield as well, and they're making labor management easy. So now I also get 3 more reasons. And the prices are also very affordable. So the first thing happened, I have educated, I solved some of their queries. And the second thing is you also filter your leads. Instead of 1,000 leads, you need 100 leads, but these 100 leads are productive leads. So you also make sure if somebody is coming to your platform from your landing page, they are also the right customer for you, not the unnecessary leads.
Awesome. One thing, SaaS Insiders, I want you also to pick up is, as Lalit explained in your landing page, sometimes we also need to educate potential buyers on their problem, because sometimes they're fully aware and what is the options. Sometimes they're just not aware. Just like in case of SenseGraphs, sometimes they're not even sure what works best for them. And if you're coming from the rather a more complicated or more, let's say, not as popular and widespread industry, educating your customers on landing page should allow for more conversions, but keep it to one call to action regardless.
Exactly.
Lalit, if you were to give one most important advice for founders when they craft their SaaS offers, right? If you were to get back maybe even a bit earlier to your career and give advice to an aspiring founder like you, to when you build your SaaS offers, what would be the one advice you want to give first, to really help them avoid the most mistakes possible?
Study your market and customer well. Find one key core value proposition or solution you are offering to them, maybe max 3, and a very clear pricing. There's 3 things. Study market, customer well. Find one key value proposition you want to solve for them with a very simple and effective pricing. These 3 things.
Got it. Laser focus on understanding what's your market, one value proposition, and the third one is
your pricing. Make it very simple pricing. Yeah. Okay. Don't create 5 type of different pricing for 5 different people. No, just give it one. Try it, test it, and then bring 4 more.
We're currently doing a launch with my co-founder of a relaunch of our SaaS product. It's the 3rd year, 2nd anniversary. And what we did is we simplified the options we have from 7 to just 2, because the feedback that we saw is it's 7 different things. How do they work? How do they compare? What's the benefits? Exactly. Do we really need 7? We didn't, but we wanted kind of to fit everyone because we're geniuses. So we have all the 7 packages, but no, all it did is confuse people. But what should they pick, right?
And I want to add a very funny thing that's very, very applicable to me actually. People ask me pick one and all. So every time, and this is my thing actually, every time if you give me more than 4 or 5 options, I just got confused. So I always say one thing: the moment you give me an option to pick one, I'm not going to choose anything. So I'm a kind of person if you just give me 2 options maximum, I'll pick one. That's all.
Got it. Just like when you go to a movie, right? There's small, medium, and large. That's it. You don't have the 4th option. So it just makes 3 boxes or 2 boxes would be ideal.
Yeah. And I think this is also interesting to add just one more thing, Vlad. So even if you see the big successful companies, Skype, Dropbox, Salesforce, all Netflix and all, if you see and if you focus there, they only have 2 to 3 option max, individual, professional, or customer. They have maximum 2 to 3 pricing, kind of structure. They don't have like 5, 6, 7 because they know their, their offering very well.
Simple is scalable, right? So
Exactly.
if we can make it simple, we can scale it. If not, we'll get in our own complexities. Lalit, I think like the part of our podcast is also to get a bit more on a personal connection, because we're building a community of SaaS founders, and we share same values, but we're so much different. And I think the questions are more on the personal side, if I may. What do you think would be one activity that gets you disconnected from your business? Like what's one activity that lets your brain kind of have a rest and not constantly thinking about work?
You asked me one, so I'll definitely tell you one, but I'll also add a couple of more as well. So the one thing is like I drink bourbon and I sit quiet in my room and do nothing, right? So, you have to give a break to yourself, right? You have to give yourself like in a me time, right? Which we usually don't do it in our busy schedule. So have a glass of tea, coffee, or bourbon or whiskey, whatever your drink is. Spend like 15, 20 or 30 minutes within yourself and do nothing. So I think that's what I usually do. But the other things I usually do, and I told you, like I definitely add two more things. I love cooking. I enjoy cooking. Like that's kind of a stress buster for me as well, because you forget everything because you have to be focused on your food. Otherwise it will get burned. So the second thing is like I'm writing my own book, right? So, and I think all founders have to write something as well. So naturally to be a book. The reason I'm writing my book because I have some experience, and I think that writing a book or writing a note or memo or something like that, it always like you have millions of thoughts in your mind every day. So if you give a practice to yourself to start writing these things, again, as I said, like not necessarily to be everyone, not necessarily to be a writer of a book, but like if you start even maintaining a diary or writing something, I'm just talking about myself. So I start writing my book as well. And this is about my journey, good thing, bad thing, learnings and all. So like after 5 years or after 2 years, or even maybe in my third startup after 2 years, if I read my previous notes or my previous book, I'll have a lot of things or learning which I'm going to change it or improve it in my stuff. So I think writing your thoughts and views every day is a very good practice. Maybe just 2 lines or 3 lines every day.
Got it. So like more like journaling, like sharing your thoughts on the paper, more like how do you feel? What are the lessons? What would be the one piece of advice you wish you had known when you were 3 or 5 years younger than you are now? Like if you were to go back in time a few years and give yourself one advice, like maybe entrepreneurship, maybe personal life wise, what that advice would be?
Again, you ask one, I'll give you one. So choose your team wisely. This is more professional advice. So choose your team wisely. And when I say the team, it means your co-founders or maybe your first early employees, because these are very, very important people is going to be in your journey of your startup. I'll give you one personal advice as well. Please have a good work-life balance. And I think this is something you have heard millions of times, but this is very important. Like you have to keep a good distance between your personal and work life as well, because if your work life is good, your personal life will be good. If your personal life is good, your work life will be good as well.
And when you say choose your team wisely, right? Is there any specific advice? Maybe don't work with X or look for Y in your team. Anything specific that you think would save a lot of time and stress?
When I say choose your team wisely, I think it's something that a lot of time people say that, and even I use this line that like-minded founders, like-minded team. When I say like-minded, doesn't need to be like the both founders thinking the same way. For example, in my current company, like I'm a very different person than what my VP product is, my tech guy. We're two different persons. We are definitely not like-minded. So your like-minded part comes, maybe they have the same mission. So when I say, I'm not saying like to whom you don't need to work, but like I definitely want to say like with whom you can work. So they should be like equally passionate and motivated about the problem you are solving or your product you are building. They definitely have some like at least one hero skill. Not every person is like the master of all trades, right? But you definitely have at least one or two best things in that person. Anything. Maybe the person cracking good jokes or cook good food. anything. But the person should have at least one or two good things, or at least minimum one good thing that the person is very good in that stuff, right? Because you can use it that way. You don't need to. The other things you can learn it. Maybe you are mediocre in the other skills and other expertise, but you are a hero in that one thing, and you can use that person for that one skill. So I think these are a few things. But again, there is no such framework actually of the right team. Very frankly, yeah.
Got it. SaaS Insiders, if you pick this up, we should be looking for like-minded, but not in a way of thinking the same, but being more passionate and focused on the same goals, and making sure that we can have a team of heroes in specific skills in the beginning. So we have skills that complement each other. So if you're coming from a technical background, maybe a hero in marketing will be a good fit for you to combine, right? So it doesn't make sense to make a full team of techies or just a full team of marketers, because otherwise no one's crafting anything, right? As a founder of SenseGrass, Lalit, what do you think would be one of the greatest challenges you're currently looking the solution for? And the reason I'm asking is, as we're building this community, we have people from all industries, from e-commerce, from sales, from marketing, from technology, and we're all here to help each other. So the reason I want is for someone maybe to hear what you need at this stage, so maybe they could reach out to you and actually offer you help, offer you support and assistance at this stage. So maybe there's something specific, some challenge you're currently trying to crack in SenseGrass.
Couple of points. The first thing we are hiring actually. So we're looking for the full stack engineers, remote positions. Anyone can join from anywhere in the world. Just a couple of years of experience. So full stack engineers we're looking for. Some other position as well, like business development and all. We're looking for co-founder in the company as well. So that's the another thing as well. So you can go out to like sensegrass.com or AngelList, find the SenseGrass page or even the LinkedIn. You will find the information about these posting as well. The second thing is, being an ad tech company, we're looking for more farms. So we're looking for more data as well. So we want to do more and more pilots with the farms. When I say farms, not a geographical limitation. Your farm could be from Asia to Europe, US to Latin America. We're just looking for any type of crop, any type of farms as well. So these are two things as well. And of course, we also looking for into the sustainability and clean tech space or ad tech space as well. Just to share the thought process and maybe find some synergies to work together. So these are few things that we are looking for here.
Mm-hmm. So first is agri-tech experts. If you have data and you have anything to contribute, Lalit will be the person to reach out to. As for the co-founder, are you looking for a superhero from the marketing background, from the technical background? Like, what do you think you're looking for?
I would pick business development, someone who has done business development. I think I would say this is the hero skill I'm looking for. The rest of the thing can be figured out here.
Awesome. You're not the first year into entrepreneurship, right? And you probably read some books on it, or maybe watched some mentors. Maybe you have a mentor. Yeah. If you were to highlight like up to 3 sources of knowledge, of wisdom that really helped you move forward and be at the place where you're at now, what those sources would be?
I'll start with the people actually. There's a the importance of people in my life is definitely there. So I would say like my parents is the biggest, the strength actually, my family and my parents. The reason is because they have kind of given me like a kind of independence and the peace of mind to solve whatever you are solving. They always back you up. And, I think in startup founders' life, the backing from your loved ones, whether it's your girlfriend, wife, your family, is the most important. So I think these are one. The second, I would say like a couple of mentors, which we have come across during the journey of SenseGrass and even my previous startup as well. And these mentors are like, very random people we came across, and they started giving you advices without any expectation in terms of return. Of course, I've read a lot of articles. I usually follow the documentaries and some small abstract and the teasers kind of stuff, but I'll definitely I'm not a very avid book reader, but I'll definitely give a couple of names. There's a book called Lean In. It's from the ex co-founder of Facebook, Sandberg. This is good. Another book I really want to recommend is start with Why. It's a very popular book, Simon Sinek, right? I'm sure like a lot of people have known this book as well. Because I'll tell you, the origin of startup it starts from why. Like why we are having this problem, why we are not solving this problem, why this is such a huge problem, a huge market, right? So start with why, Simon Sinek. So I think these are 3 things. Your loved ones, your family one, your good mentors, Definitely find some good mentors in your journey. Your investor could be your mentors, your team member could be your mentors. And the third one is like good materials, good stuff. Whether you read it, you watch it. I'm not saying like you have to read the huge book, spend 20 days in a month. But even if you read some abstract or, watch some small clips and all, these are good stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. Lalit, we all strive for success as founders. We want to be successful, but this thing means very different things to different people. What do you think success means to you as for today, whether it's in business and personal life? Like if I were to wake you up in the middle of the night and say, like, what is success for you? What would be kind of the intuitive answer?
You asked me today, right? So, usually, and let me answer this today and then I'll add a couple of lines. So for me, I think that today the success means it's all about a good work-life balance. If I have an urgency, if I have to meet someone, whether you, any family member, and if I have the kind of flexibility in my schedule to do this work, to meet that person, or also take an additional meeting from the professional side, I think that's what the success looks like for me right now. Normally, success usually change with the time and with the age. If you are a young founder, started like at 26, 27, I think for you, the success is like raising funds, raising a couple of $1 million funds, maybe, getting like 10 million, 1 million ARR. The moment you cross 30, 35, your success, change. The moment you move to 40, 45 plus, your success change because your success may be related to your family as well. So I think for me right now, the success is like a good balance in your work and your personal life and a very sustainable growth as a startup founder. I do not need like a very huge growth of my company, but I definitely want like a sustainable growth. So there is a difference between a huge rapid growth and a sustainable growth. Rapid and huge growth might be stuck after 1 year or 2 years, but the sustainable growth is without external investment, without making a lot of effort, without making a lot of anxiety and stress, your company growing for last long, for 5 years, 10 years. And I think that is also a very good, successful, formula for the SaaS business owners as well.
Lovely, lovely. We just had a friend of mine on the show. His name's Cody. And we actually, in the beginning, we helped him launch his SaaS product, but now he reached profitability. And this is what he shared with us, that the moment you are there, the moment you're sustainable and profitable, you have all the time in the world, meaning that you don't have 12 months to have to do the next round and you need to do this, otherwise you're burned. You're growing. Money's coming in, cash flow positive. You can do whatever you want with this SaaS. You can take it slower, you can make it faster. You're in peace. Peace is the new success. It's what we discussed with him at this show. And I think it kind of ties into what you were trying to explain at this stage.
Mental peace is everything. And I think you already have answered this great, the concluding statement that if you're growing successfully, sustainably, without external worry about external fund and all, you are good. I'm like, if you ask a founder, like if you ask one question to most of the founders, like, hey, what is the maximum time you spending of your day? I'm assuming the majority of the answer will be like fundraising. So fundraising is a very critical, very time consuming, step. It's like last long every day, 365 days in a year. The moment your company becomes sustainable, right, with or without the external money, right, the revenue coming, profit coming, maybe it's not huge. You have saved a very significant amount of your daytime because now you're not thinking about fundraising. You're not thinking about scaling and all. Your company is already like on an automated pilot mode. So these are the things that people need to consider.
Lalit, what would be the best way for founders to get in touch with you to learn more about your company, about what you're doing? What would be the best place to go to? We'll be placing the links in the description to this podcast, but maybe you have some sources you would prefer to share.
Yeah, I think so. If you want to know about the company, definitely www.senseplus.com. Go and get the on the website. Tell us what is the problem you have also seen on the landing page of our website. So we are always open for the feedback. If you really want me to connect directly from me, I think the LinkedIn is the best place. I'll share you my LinkedIn, and also my email is lalit@senseplus.com. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, emails. I usually reply within 24 hours. So you can reach out to me on these platforms.
Wonderful, wonderful. Lalit, any last thoughts? Any last thoughts on our topic today?
Thanks for having me, Vlad. I think this is a pretty interesting, discussion we had. And SaaS is a very, very, important topic in almost everyone's life. I'm talking about every founder's life, right? So I enjoyed really. Thanks for having me here, and I'm looking forward.
Well, thank you for coming to the show.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Have a good day. Bye.